Welcome back to our channel. We hope you'll find valuable content here. If you enjoy our channel, please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Let's dive in. The conflict between Israel and Hamas has been ongoing for many years, and it's a situation that has caused much pain and suffering for people on both sides. To understand it in simpler terms, imagine two neighbors who can't agree on who should live where, and this disagreement leads to frequent and violent clashes. The root of the conflict. Disagreement on land. Israel and Palestine, where Hamas is a dominant force, have been in a dispute over who should own certain lands for decades. It's like two people arguing over who owns a piece of property, but on a much larger and more complex scale. Religious and cultural differences. Both groups have deep-rooted religious and cultural beliefs that are tied to the same land, making the disagreement even more complex. Imagine two families, each with their own set of beliefs and traditions, trying to live in the same house. The blockade of the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip, a small coastal region bordering Egypt and Israel, has been a focal point of tension for many years. Its residents, primarily Palestinians, have experienced various challenges, from political unrest to economic hardships. One of the most significant challenges has been the blockade imposed by Israel. The genesis of the blockade. In 2007, following a series of events that led to Hamas taking control of the Gaza Strip, Israel imposed a blockade. The primary reason cited was security, to prevent the smuggling of weapons and to weaken Hamas, which Israel and many other countries consider a terrorist organization. However, the blockade's effects have been far-reaching, impacting the daily lives of Gaza's 2 million residents. Life under the blockade. Imagine living in a place where your movements are restricted. You can't travel freely, and getting basic necessities becomes a daily struggle. The blockade has led to shortages of essential goods, including food, medicine, and fuel. Hospitals often run out of crucial supplies, and power outages are frequent. Businesses, too, have felt the pinch. With limited access to raw materials and a restricted export market, many have shut down, leading to skyrocketing unemployment rates. Young people, even those with university degrees, find it challenging to secure jobs. The humanitarian aspect. Beyond the economic and political implications, the blockade has had a profound humanitarian impact. Malnutrition rates have risen, and many families rely on aid to survive. Children, the most vulnerable, often bear the brunt of the crisis, with many suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder due to the constant threat of conflict and the challenges of life under the blockade. The international response. The international community has expressed concerns about the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Various organizations, including the United Nations, have called for the blockade's lifting, citing its detrimental effects on civilians. However, the situation remains complex, with security concerns often pitted against humanitarian needs. A glimmer of hope. Despite the challenges, the resilience of the people of Gaza shines through. Stories of individuals and communities coming together, innovating, and finding ways to cope and thrive are not uncommon. From rooftop gardens to solar-powered solutions, the indomitable spirit of Gaza's residents is evident. Expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank. Historical context. The West Bank, a landlocked territory bordered by Israel and Jordan, has been a significant point of contention in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Following the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel captured the West Bank and has since established settlements in the region. What are settlements? Imagine moving to a new neighborhood, building a house, and starting a life there. In the context of the West Bank, settlements are communities that Israel has built on lands that Palestinians see as part of their future state. These settlements range from small outposts to large towns, complete with infrastructure, schools, and businesses. Why are they controversial? The establishment and expansion of these settlements are seen by many as a major obstacle to peace. Palestinians view them as an encroachment on their land and a violation of their rights. Moreover, international law deems these settlements illegal, further fueling the controversy. The impact on Palestinians. For Palestinians living in the West Bank, the growth of settlements often means a loss of access to their agricultural lands, limited mobility due to roadblocks and checkpoints, and sometimes even confrontations with settlers. Imagine having a large portion of your backyard taken over by someone else, restricting your movement and access. The Israeli perspective. Many Israelis believe that the West Bank, which they refer to as Judea and Samaria, holds historical and religious significance for the Jewish people. They argue that the settlements are essential for Israel's security and fulfill a biblical prophecy. It's akin to believing that the backyard has ancestral and spiritual value, making it vital to protect and inhabit. The road to peace. The settlements issue has been a significant sticking point in peace negotiations between Israel and Palestine. While some solutions have been proposed, such as land swaps, the path to a resolution remains challenging. Both sides hold deep-seated beliefs and emotions tied to the land, making compromises difficult. Recent escalation of violence in May 2021. Prelude to the escalation. In the spring of 2021, tensions were already high in the region. Several events, including planned evictions of Palestinian families in East Jerusalem and clashes at the Al-Aqsa Mosque during the holy month of Ramadan, set the stage for a more significant conflict. The spark. In early May, Hamas, which governs the Gaza Strip, began firing rockets into Israel. These rocket attacks were seen as a response to the aforementioned tensions in East Jerusalem. Israel, in turn, responded with airstrikes targeting locations in Gaza. The human toll. The days that followed saw a tragic loss of life. Civilians, including children on both sides, became casualties of the escalating violence. Homes were destroyed, families were torn apart, and the trauma of war was felt deeply by communities on both sides. Imagine the fear and uncertainty of living in a place where sirens wail, signaling incoming rockets, or the devastation of losing a loved one in an airstrike. The emotional, physical, and psychological toll on individuals cannot be overstated. International reactions. As the conflict intensified, the world watched with bated breath. Protests erupted globally, with people expressing solidarity with Palestinians or Israelis, or simply calling for peace. World leaders and international organizations urged both sides to cease hostilities and work towards a ceasefire. The ceasefire. After 11 days of intense fighting, a ceasefire was brokered. While it brought a temporary halt to the violence, the underlying issues remain unresolved. The ceasefire was akin to putting a band-aid on a deep wound. It stops the bleeding but doesn't heal the injury. Reflections. The May 2021 escalation was a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in the region. It underscored the need for a lasting solution that addresses the root causes of the conflict and ensures the safety and dignity of all people involved. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a historical overview. Ancient roots. The land known today as Israel and Palestine has been inhabited for thousands of years by various groups, each with its own unique culture, history, and connection to the land. From ancient civilizations like the Canaanites and Philistines to the biblical kingdoms of Israel and Judah, this land has witnessed countless epics and narratives. The birth of modern Zionism. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a movement known as Zionism emerged among Jews in Europe. This movement sought to establish a national homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine, driven by a combination of religious, nationalistic, and political factors. The dream was to re-establish a Jewish presence in the ancestral homeland. British Mandate and the Balfour Declaration. Following World War I, the League of Nations granted Britain the mandate to govern Palestine. The Balfour Declaration, issued in 1917, expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. However, this was met with opposition from the Arab majority living in the region. The UN partition and the birth of Israel. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a plan to partition Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. The Jewish leadership accepted the plan, leading to the declaration of the State of Israel in 1948. However, the Arab leadership rejected the partition, leading to the First Arab-Israeli War. Wars, intifadas, and peace processes. Over the decades, multiple wars and uprisings, known as intifadas, have occurred between Israel and its Arab neighbors, including the Palestinians. Peace processes, such as the Oslo Accords, have been initiated, but a lasting solution remains elusive. The heart of the matter. At its core, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict revolves around competing nationalisms, historical grievances, and deeply rooted religious and cultural ties to the land. Both Israelis and Palestinians have legitimate claims and narratives, making the path to peace complex and challenging. The human impact of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Stories beyond the headlines. While the Israeli-Palestinian conflict often makes headlines for its political and military aspects, behind these headlines are countless personal stories of individuals whose lives have been profoundly affected. These are tales of loss, hope, resilience, and dreams. The children of conflict. Imagine growing up in an environment where the sounds of sirens and explosions are routine. For many children in the region, this is their reality. They navigate their childhood amidst violence, facing traumas that can have lasting psychological impacts. Yet, amidst the chaos, there are also stories of friendships forged across divides and dreams of a peaceful future. Displacement and the quest for home. Many Palestinians have stories of displacement, tracing back to events like the 1948 Nakba. Generations have grown up in refugee camps, longing for a homeland they've heard of in family tales. On the other side, Jewish immigrants came to Israel seeking refuge from persecution, with hopes of building a safe haven. Living with fear. For Israelis, the threat of rocket attacks, bombings, and other forms of violence is a constant backdrop. The fear and anxiety of living in such conditions shape daily routines, from where to seek shelter during an attack to how to explain the situation to young children. Hopes and dreams. Despite the adversities, both Israelis and Palestinians hold on to their hopes and dreams. Whether it's a Palestinian artist using art as a form of resistance and expression or an Israeli peace activist working towards reconciliation, the human spirit's resilience shines through. The power of personal narratives. Personal stories have the power to humanize the conflict, moving beyond statistics and political rhetoric. They remind us that behind every event are individuals with hopes, fears, dreams, and a desire for a better future. International community's role and response. A global concern. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, while centered in the Middle East, has garnered attention and concern from the international community for decades. The geopolitical significance of the region, coupled with the human rights implications of the conflict, has made it a focal point for global diplomacy. The United Nations involvement. The United Nations, UN, has been actively involved in the conflict since its inception. From the 1947 partition plan to numerous resolutions passed by the UN Security Council and General Assembly, the organization has sought to mediate and provide solutions. Additionally, UN agencies like UNRWA have been instrumental in providing aid to Palestinian refugees. Major powers and their stances. Different major powers, including the United States, Russia, China, and European nations, have had varying stances and roles in the conflict. While the U.S. has historically been a close ally of Israel, it has also played mediator in peace talks. European nations, with their colonial histories in the region, have also been key players in diplomatic efforts. The Arab world's perspective. The Arab world, given its geographical and cultural proximity, has been deeply involved in the conflict. From the Arab-Israeli wars to the Arab Peace Initiative, Arab nations have played both adversarial and conciliatory roles over the years. Non-governmental organizations, NGOs. Various NGOs, both local and international, have been active in the region, providing humanitarian aid, monitoring human rights, and advocating for peace. Their work often sheds light on the on-ground realities and offers perspectives that might be overlooked in political discussions. The road ahead. The international community's role is crucial in facilitating a peaceful resolution to the conflict. While challenges abound, global collaboration and understanding can pave the way for a future where both Israelis and Palestinians can coexist in peace and security. Prospects for peace and potential solutions. The two-state solution. Historically, the most widely discussed solution has been the two-state solution, which envisions an independent state of Palestine alongside the State of Israel. This solution aims to address the national aspirations of both Palestinians and Israelis, granting them self-determination within their respective territories. The one-state solution. Another proposed solution is the one-state solution, where both Israelis and Palestinians would live in a single, unified state. This approach raises questions about the nature of this state, its governance, and how it would ensure equal rights for all its citizens. Regional initiatives. Over the years, regional players, including Egypt and Jordan, have played roles in mediating peace efforts. The Arab Peace Initiative, proposed by Saudi Arabia in 2002, offered normalized relations between Israel and the Arab world in exchange for a full Israeli withdrawal from occupied territories and a just solution to the Palestinian refugee problem. Grassroots movements. Beyond top-down diplomatic efforts, grassroots movements and organizations on both sides have been working towards peace. These groups focus on building bridges, fostering understanding, and promoting coexistence between Israelis and Palestinians. Challenges to peace. Several challenges stand in the way of a lasting peace. These include issues related to borders, the status of Jerusalem, Palestinian refugees, and security concerns. Trust deficits, historical grievances, and external influences further complicate the path to peace. A vision for the future. While the road to peace is fraught with challenges, the hope remains that a just and lasting solution can be found. This would require compromises, empathy, and a commitment to a future where both Israelis and Palestinians can live in dignity, security, and prosperity. Cultural and humanitarian aspects. Shared histories and commonalities. Both Israelis and Palestinians have deep-rooted histories in the region, with archaeological and historical evidence pointing to ancient civilizations and kingdoms. Beyond the political narratives, there are shared stories, traditions, and even culinary delights that both communities cherish. The rich tapestry of cultures. The region is a melting pot of cultures. From the ancient Hebrew and Canaanite civilizations to the Arab caliphates and Ottoman rule, the land has seen a confluence of cultures, languages, and traditions. This rich heritage is reflected in the architecture, music, literature, and daily life of the people. Humanitarian challenges. The conflict has resulted in significant humanitarian challenges, especially for the Palestinian population in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Issues range from restricted access to basic amenities like water and electricity to challenges in healthcare, education, and employment. The role of art and literature. Artists, writers, and musicians from both sides have used their craft to express their experiences, hopes, and traumas. Whether it's Palestinian poetry echoing the longing for a homeland or Israeli films exploring the complexities of identity, art serves as a mirror to society's soul. Shared spaces and interactions. Despite the conflict, there are spaces where Israelis and Palestinians interact, whether it's in the bustling markets of Jerusalem or joint business ventures. These interactions, though sometimes fraught with tension, also offer glimpses of coexistence and mutual respect. The path forward, building bridges. For a lasting peace, it's essential to focus on the cultural and humanitarian aspects, understanding the shared histories and building bridges through dialogue, education, and mutual respect. Grassroots initiatives that promote intercultural understanding can pave the way for a brighter, shared future. Economic implications of the conflict. Economic disparities. The Israeli economy is one of the most advanced in the Middle East, with a strong focus on technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. In contrast, the Palestinian territories, particularly the Gaza Strip, face significant economic challenges, including high unemployment rates, restricted trade, and limited resources. Impact on trade and infrastructure. The conflict has had a profound effect on trade and infrastructure in the region. Restrictions on movement, border closures, and security concerns have hampered trade between Israel and the Palestinian territories and have limited foreign investment. The cost of conflict. The ongoing conflict has not only resulted in a significant human toll but also a substantial economic cost. Resources that could be used for development and infrastructure are often diverted to security and defense. Additionally, the instability deters foreign investment and tourism, vital sources of revenue for both economies. Economic cooperation, a pathway to peace? There have been instances of economic cooperation between Israelis and Palestinians, such as joint industrial zones and collaborative business ventures. Such initiatives can foster mutual understanding and provide economic benefits to both sides. Economic interdependence could potentially serve as a foundation for lasting peace. International aid and development. The Palestinian territories, especially Gaza, are heavily reliant on international aid for basic services, infrastructure development, and humanitarian relief. While aid provides immediate relief, sustainable economic development is crucial for long-term stability and prosperity. The future economic landscape. If a peaceful resolution to the conflict is achieved, the economic potential for the region is immense. From joint tourism initiatives to collaborative tech ventures, the possibilities are vast. A stable economic environment can also pave the way for increased foreign investment, benefiting both Israelis and Palestinians. Trade implications of the conflict. Historical trade relations. Historically, before the onset of the conflict, the region had vibrant trade routes, with goods, ideas, and cultures intermingling. The cities of Jerusalem, Jaffa, and Gaza were significant trade hubs, connecting the East and West. Trade restrictions and blockades. The conflict has led to severe trade restrictions, especially for the Palestinian territories. The blockade on Gaza and the numerous checkpoints in the West Bank have hampered the movement of goods, leading to economic hardships. Dependence on Israel. The Palestinian economy, especially in the West Bank, is heavily dependent on Israel for trade. Whether it's imports of essential goods or exports to Israeli markets, the economic interdependence is palpable, albeit imbalanced. International trade partners. While Israel has a diversified trade portfolio with partners like the US, EU, and Asia, the Palestinian territories face challenges in accessing international markets. However, there have been efforts, especially in the agricultural sector, to export Palestinian products to European and Asian markets. Potential for trade cooperation. Trade can act as a bridge, fostering cooperation and mutual benefits. Joint industrial zones, collaborative business ventures, and shared access to ports can pave the way for economic prosperity for both Israelis and Palestinians. The future of trade in the region. If the conflict finds a peaceful resolution, the region's trade potential is immense. Reopening historical trade routes, leveraging the Eastern Mediterranean's strategic location, and integrating into global supply chains can bring about economic revival and stability. Role of media and information. Media as a double-edged sword. Media plays a crucial role in shaping public opinion. While it can inform and educate, it can also be used to propagate certain narratives, sometimes leading to misinformation or biased perspectives. Local media, narratives from within. Israeli and Palestinian media often reflect the sentiments and narratives of their respective populations. While they provide insights into the local perspectives, they can sometimes be polarized, emphasizing their own narratives while downplaying or negating the other side's. International media, the global lens. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a global focal point, covered extensively by international media. However, the lens through which international media views the conflict can vary based on geopolitical interests, editorial policies, and audience demographics. The power of social media. In recent years, social media platforms have become significant players in shaping narratives. They provide a platform for grassroots voices, citizen journalism, and real-time updates. However, they also come with challenges like echo chambers, misinformation, and online polarization. Media literacy, navigating the information maze. With the abundance of information and the challenges of misinformation, media literacy becomes essential. It's crucial for individuals to critically assess sources, understand biases, and differentiate between facts and opinions. The future of media in the conflict. As technology evolves, so will the media landscape. The rise of immersive journalism, using tools like virtual reality, can provide deeper insights into the realities on the ground. However, the core principles of ethical journalism, balanced reporting, and fact-checking remain paramount. Environmental implications of the conflict. Shared natural resources. Both Israel and the Palestinian territories share crucial natural resources, most notably water. The Jordan River and the mountain aquifer are vital sources of freshwater for both communities, but their management and distribution have been contentious issues. Environmental degradation. The conflict has led to environmental challenges, including deforestation, soil erosion, and pollution. Military activities, construction of barriers, and infrastructure development have disrupted natural habitats and ecosystems. Water scarcity and management. Water scarcity is a pressing issue in the region. Overextraction of groundwater, coupled with reduced rainfall and climate change, has led to declining water levels. The equitable distribution and management of water resources remain significant challenges. Waste management and pollution. Both communities face challenges in waste management. Inadequate waste disposal facilities, especially in the Gaza Strip, have led to pollution of land and water resources. Additionally, untreated sewage and industrial waste have further exacerbated environmental concerns. Shared environmental initiatives. Despite the conflict, there have been joint Israeli-Palestinian initiatives focusing on environmental conservation. These collaborations aim to address shared ecological challenges, from reforestation projects to joint water management programs. The future, eco-peace and sustainability. Environmental challenges know no borders. Recognizing the shared ecological destiny can pave the way for eco-peace, where both communities collaborate for a sustainable future, ensuring the protection of natural resources and the environment. Final summary: the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Historical context. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has deep historical roots, with both communities having profound connections to the land. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 and subsequent wars have shaped the modern contours of the conflict. Political and territorial disputes. Central to the conflict are the territorial disputes over the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. The vision of a two-state solution, with Israel and Palestine coexisting peacefully, remains elusive due to political complexities. Socio-cultural dynamics. Both Israelis and Palestinians share rich cultural heritages and histories. However, the conflict has often overshadowed these shared narratives, leading to mistrust and misunderstanding. Economic and trade implications. The conflict has had significant economic repercussions, from trade restrictions to economic disparities. Yet, there's potential for economic cooperation, which could act as a bridge towards peace. Environmental concerns. Shared natural resources, especially water, are pivotal. Environmental degradation, water scarcity, and pollution are challenges that both communities face, necessitating joint conservation efforts. Media's role. Media, both local and international, plays a crucial role in shaping perceptions. With the rise of social media, grassroots voices have gained prominence, but challenges like misinformation persist. Prospects for peace. While the road to peace is fraught with challenges, there's hope. Grassroots initiatives, international mediation, and a focus on shared futures can pave the way for a peaceful resolution.